Hare Krishna. Morning.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Okay, let's begin. ॐ ज्ञानतिमिरन्धस्य ज्ञानञ्जनशलाखया चक्षुरुन्मिलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः। श्रीचैतन्यमनोभीष्टं स्थापितं येन भूतले स्वयं रूपगतामहं ददति स्वपदान्तिकम्। वन्देऽहं श्रीगुरुश्रीयुतपदकमलान् श्रीगुरुन् वैष्णवांश्च श्रीरूपं सागरजातां सहगणरघुनाथान्वितं तं सजीवं साद्वैतं सावधूतं परिजनसहितं कृष्णचैतन्यदेवं श्रीराधाकृष्णपादान् सहगणललिता श्री शाखान्वितं च नमामि विष्णुपादाय कृष्णप्रस्थाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदान्तस्वामिनिति नाम्ने नमस्ते सारस्वतीदेवे गौरवाणी प्रचारणे निर्विशेषशून्यवादी पाश्चात्यदेशतारिणे वंशकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्येव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। हे कृष्णकरुणा सिन्धु दीनबन्धो जगत्पति गोपीश गोपिकान्त राधाकान्त नमोऽस्तुते। तप्ताकाञ्चन गौराङ्गी राधे वृन्दावनेश्वरी महानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर शिवासादि गौर भक्तवृंद। हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे राम राम हरे हरे। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। नारायण नमस्कृत्यं नरं चैव नरोत्तमं देवीं सरस्वतीं व्यासं ततो जयमुदीरयेत्। नष्टप्रायेषु भद्रेषु नित्यं भागवतसेवया भगवदुत्तमश्लोके भक्तिर्भवति नैष्टिकी। कृष्णाय वासुदेवाय देवकीनन्दनाय च नन्दगोपकुमाराय गोविन्दाय नमो नमः। हरे कृष्ण। So today we'll be continuing to conclude the pastime of Maharaj Prithu, who yeah is going back home, back to Godhead, back to Vaikuntha planet. And last week we read till verse number, I think, 13. Is it right? 13 or 11? I don't. Yeah.
10 Prabhuji.
10. Okay. So let's take it from there. And so this is a wonderful opportunity on this occasion of reading the concluding chapter. We can understand uh, the results of such glories of Prithu Maharaj, and then what will we attain. This is the chapter that will help us to understand further. So last week we were discussing that Prithu Maharaj retires, realizing his age. I think we discussed about the importance of retirement, timely retirement, for timely success. Mm. The maintainer of all kinds of living entities, Prithu Maharaj, having executed the orders of the Lord, uh, what is the purpose of pre-retirement life? Pre-retirement life is to execute the duties as per the rules and regulations decided by um, or set up by the Lord according to the Varnashrama system. And this is the means through which we can purify our understanding, our consciousness, our um, conditioning to get further eligible to understand what is the purpose of life and what is that we have to execute. So, and after we do this, of course, we cannot say that, let me have a, no, I didn't achieve it, or I didn't do it. Okay, let me start at age 50. mm, Let me start at age, yeah, this is what happens. Yeah. So when we were talking, I think was it yesterday when we were reading that Prabhupada was elaborating on mm, at what age the girl is getting married. Yeah, even at age of 15, 16, very early age. One may say, no, 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 by 15 years, I didn't finish my education. By 20, will not finish my education. Okay, 23, I finished my education, then I'm starting my job. After all, my parents have given me this opportunity and they spent a lot. Let me start working. Once I earn, then I'm ready to support my family, and otherwise I can't do it after I get married. So these are all different circumstances which we put ourselves with our logical understanding, and then we will delay. And then the age may come to 30, 35. Oh, I have become a burden to my parents because, yeah, they are struggling to find a boy for me. And after success at age of 35 with a marriage, uh, then uh, dharma, artha, kama, moksha. So then the situation starts where we are thinking, okay, after all these years, last 35 years, did I enjoy at all? No, this is the time I can enjoy. Until now, I was taking responsibility of my parents for whatever debts they have incurred because of me, which is my responsibility. Now is the time where I can start enjoying. And when one thinks of enjoyment, then first thing is that they would like to settle in life. And when they want to settle in life, they will postpone the most important things because we don't know what is real settlement. The real settlement is to understand that we cannot delay things. We have to understand that, okay, with whatever is possible from there, whatever is manageable from there, we can execute our duties. As long as we are executing our duties, we are on track. But delaying the duties, and then comes the situation, oh, after all, now I am 35, 40 plus, and now it's very difficult to get children. And okay, I do that, I do this, so many arrangements. And in the process of arranging all these things, another few more years are gone. After a few more years are gone, then we are just carrying our lifestyle such a way that, okay, let me be ready so that when my kids grow, then I am available. After all, it's also my responsibility. And in this way, we can always find some reason, uh, thinking these are the valid reasons of our life. uh, and in terms of, we always put this, yeah, just like Bharat Maharaj was saying, hey, it is the duty of me to take care of the deer. Yeah, we may have to have a proper clarity, and that's why we need a spiritual master to really see what is it. Hmm? Like His Holiness Jayadvaita Maharaj, yeah, when the question came about um, women and going, taking sannyas. So these things, one may just kind of concoct whatever comes to their mind, their family situations, and based on that, they may simply say, let me do this, let me do that. But it's very, very important that a spiritual master, in the case of Prithu Maharaj, he didn't take his decisions, but he actually was blessed. Lord Vishnu, Lord Brahma, four Kumaras, everyone have guided him, and he also welcomed. Uh, if spiritual master is telling to do this or to do that, the disciple or the one who is following in his footsteps should also be ready to mold life. And the time came, yeah, for Prithu Maharaj. Yeah, he realized now, yeah, it's time, and then he has handed over the entire earth, which he was ruling, to his sons. This is another thing, yeah. We see so many court cases, legal issues are happening on the name of land, on a piece of land, whether it is 100 square meters or 1,000 square meters, or even bigger or smaller. But there is always a conflict. Who owns this land? Hmm. And this goes on even after one is, yeah, 40 years, 50 years, 60 years, 100 years, yeah, whatever. But the attachment to the land is always that, oh, this is my, and I will do whatever I want, I can get it. So doesn't, because did we create it? No. Uh, It's not just because there's a title on our name, so it becomes our land, but actually this everything, if we are using in the service of the Lord, then we can accept everything. But if we cannot use for the Lord, it is only um, um stumbling block to our path of hmm, enlightenment, path of realization, path of success. So then he went to the forest with his wife, and we also discussed the importance of this aspect, that a chaste wife. I think we will again come when Queen Archie, is also following in the footsteps of chaste wife, that they are always eager to engage in the service of the Lord. Prabhupada gives various examples in this connection, um, like how Mother Sita followed with Lord Ram when he went to the forest, and then there is also this Draupadi. She went with her husbands and served. Uh, then there is also yeah, chastity. When we talk about that, even Gandhari, how she served, mm, in spite of knowing about her husband, and also the same case Mandodari, how she served. So the spirit, the main principle for women for attaining success is by what? By actually serving her master, her husband. So so then Prithu Maharaj and Archie, they left to the forest, and then mm, Prithu Maharaj performed severe austerities there, and then um, he underwent all these austerities of controlling his words, senses, uh, and life air only to satisfy Krishna. Hmm. So then we discussed about the results. By doing that, is one gradually becomes steadfast. So there is really a purpose of retirement. There is really benefit of retirement if we understand this, that after retirement, after coming that, okay, now uh, what is the purpose of retiring is to focus, with no deviations. Until now there is responsibility A, responsibility B, desire A, desire B, but now I am going to give up all these and engage myself in austerity, will lead a simple life which involves a high thinking. When we think well, then we can live simple. If we don't think well, then we may just carry it away, uh, because of how others are leading life. It's always nice, yeah, to see how everyone is enjoying, how everyone is fulfilling their ambitions, and in that way we can see that so many have missed the chance. So many of us missed the chance of using the retirement life properly. Yeah, and by examples, we have to understand that no, I want to be very very careful while walking through this life. When the stage comes, that I am not going to miss it this time. So by this process, Prithu Maharaj, he attained steadfast, destroyed all the karma and became joyful, controlled his mind and senses by pranayam, uh, and cut his bondage with the world. So all these things and led to unflinching devotion. So all these things which are negated, which are given up, uh, ultimately is not to feel independence from suffering, but actually with this independence to engage 100% in the devotion. So that is the purpose. So he constantly worshipped the Lord by following the path of Adhyatma Yoga, which is Bhakti Yoga taught by Sanat Kumar. Thus, his devotion to Lord Krishna became unflinching and fixed. So, if we want to practice bhakti, uh, there is no, a best moment that is going to come. That is what someone will reveal. You know what? When all your planetary systems are suitable on so and so date, when these things favorable, then you start. No, when we start bhakti, everything becomes favorable. Hmm. So Prithu Maharaj, after engaging in such a great austerity, what he did is that he um, mm, started attaining perfection. He executing the rules and regulations strictly according to the principles. He was engaged in devotional service unflinchingly, and by regularly discharging devotional service, Prithu Maharaj became transcendental in mind and could therefore constantly think of the lotus feet of the Lord. Mm. So this is what we should aim for. This is the success that we are aiming for. What is that? That we are able to constantly think about the Lord. Yeah, 24 hours. This is because of this he became completely detached, attained perfect knowledge by which he could transcend all doubt. Huh. So when we want to engage in devotional service, there is always something comes in back of our mind. Will I make it this time? Will I be successful in my endeavor? Huh? Uh, am I really doing right thing? Huh? Am I, yeah, whatever I was told, is it going to really work? So all these questions come, but when we are practicing bhakti, Krishna blesses us. He gives the divine vision. Uh, he will give the favorable conditions through which we can become free from all kinds of doubts. Prabhupada writes in purport, Narada Pancharatra, devotional service to Lord is likened unto a queen. When a queen gives an audience, many maid servants follow her. The maid servants of devotional service are material opulence, liberation, and mystic powers. What does this mean? So, this devotional service can be compared uh, to a queen. And when a queen is coming, she is not coming alone. Along with her, all her maid servants are there who are coming. And what are the maid servants of devotional service are like material opulence, liberation, mystic powers. So, which means by practicing bhakti, we can attain everything. Of course, whether we want it or not, whether a particular maid servant is required or not, is still a situation, a point where a maid servant is needed. Yeah, engage in the service. Otherwise, not. Hmm. But it, but maid servants are available. The karmis are very much attached to the material enjoyment. The jnanis are very anxious to become free from material clutches. Yeah? And yogis are very fond of attaining the eight kind of mystic perfections. From the Narada Pancharatra, we understand that if one attains the stage of pure devotional service, he also attains all these opulence. Therefore, Srila Bilvamangal Thakur therefore prayed in his Krishna Karnamrita, My dear Lord, if I have unflinching devotion to you, you become manifest before me personally, and the result of fruitive activity and empirical philosophical speculation, namely Dharma, Artha, Kama, Moksha, become like personal attendants and remain standing before me as if avoiding my order. So this is what Srila Bilva Mangal Thakur says. By attaining bhakti, everything is at our um service. So at present, we have contracted a material body, hmm, material mind, and material intelligence. But when we become free from these material conditions, our spiritual body, spiritual mind, and spiritual intelligence become manifest. In that transcendental state, a devotee attains all benefits of karma, jnana, and yoga. So, mm, what should I practice? Karma yoga or jnana yoga? uh, or dhyana yoga? These are our questions. Uh, by bhakti yoga, everything is attained. Although he never engages in fruitive activities or empirical speculation to attain mystic powers, automatically mystic powers appear in his service. A devotee does not want any kind of material opulence, but such opulence appears before him automatically. He does not have to endeavor for it. Ah, this is the secret, yeah. That day during Bhagavad Sapta we were discussing about prospect and respect. Yeah, if we are always looking for respect, trying, yeah, sometimes we may get some respect out of duplicity, or maybe we did really something good, but it will not last ever. But if we develop and engage ourselves in the service, we will be, yeah, just we before we were discussing about Srila Bilva Mangal Thakur. Yeah, he is even now. Yeah, we were remembering his glories. So the respect is there, populance is there. Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita, Mam cha yovyabhicharena bhakti yogena sevata sagunan sametityan tan brahma bhuyaya kalpate. One who is engaged in full devotional service, unfailing in all circumstances, at once transcends the modes of material nature and thus comes to the level of Brahman. So, Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur gives the following example. If one has strong digestive power, after eating, he automatically lights a fire within his stomach to digest everything and does not need to take medicine to aid his digestion. Similarly, the fire of devotional service is so strong that a devotee does not need to act separately to attain perfect knowledge or detachment from material attraction. So, if we have the power, what is that power? How is that coming? By executing devotional service, Shakti. We are talking about Shakti. What kind of Shakti? What kind of potency? Bhakti. And through that, we can cut all the attachments. That we attain detachment, and we also attain knowledge. Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita, if you know this knowledge, then you don't need. There is nothing beyond this. So that Jnana is also bestowed upon us. However, a devotee's relationship with the Supreme becomes manifest beyond all doubt, and he immediately understands that his position is that of eternal servant of the Lord. Jnanis and yogis without devotion may think themselves liberated, because this is a big trap. Because as soon as I know little knowledge, then I start thinking I am great. But in that thinking of greatness itself, already we are falling down. Because Gyan should help us to become more humble by understanding that I know only what is it called, iota of the entire thing, maybe just a droplet, not even droplet of the entire ocean of knowledge. Rather, if one thinks, no, others don't know this, at least I know this, so I am great. So there is a trap. And yogis, because in the yoga process we are able to see things as they are. And when we start thinking, oh, now I'm able to see, oh, there are some shaktis, these powers will help me to attain uh, what I want. So all these are again trap. In other words, Gyanis and yogis cannot become factually liberated unless they become elevated to the position. Aruhya Kricharena Parama Padam Tata Patanti Ado Anadrita Yushmad Angrahya. So, in this way, uh, Gyanis and yogis may rise to highest position, Brahman realization, but because of their lack of devotion unto the lotus feet of Lord, they again fall down into the material nature. Uh, of course, there is a very, very, very small percentage who will still make it from there to the Vaikunta. That I think Prabhupada also gives in one of the purports in the same chapter. But there is a 99% chance that one comes down to the material world. Therefore, jnana and yoga should not be accepted as the real process of liberation. By discharging devotional service, Prithu Maharaj transcended all these things, and that is the key. Although Prithu Maharaj was eternally a pure devotee of Lord, he nonetheless adopted the process of devotional service in order to teach the people. So here we also understand that when we understand Prithu Maharaj is the incarnation of the Lord, Shakti Aveshavatar, he did not have to act in any way to attain liberation, because he is the Lord who is anyway liberated. Uh, but he is showing all this so that being king and his citizens look upon the king as their role model. They so Prithu Maharaj is following this, showing to the people. And then when he becomes free, so uh, after this, yeah, so when he become free from all other concepts of life, Ritu realized the form of Paramatma. So this is the condition. When our heart is filled with all dust, covered with all dirt, with all conditioning, we cannot see the ultimate goal of life. We cannot see what is the ultimate goal of life. Yesterday we were discussing when Prabhupada asked Dr. Patel, I think his name Patel, right? When Prabhupada asked what is Hinduism, he said, I don't know. Yeah. So knowledge uh, may not give us the realization, and knowledge itself will not clear all this dust and dirt. It is through bhakti, practice of bhakti, one can elevate, uh, get a clear vision. So when he became completely free from the conception of bodily life, this is first requirement. He gave up all other practices of yoga and jnana. So Prabhupada gives in the purport that this is very, very important that we understand the need of yoga and jnana. Yoga and jnana are supporting. mm, Uh, what is that? Yeah, last Sunday when I was driving back home from temple, I gave the example to a Prabhu who was sitting that, yeah, bhakti is very nice. Through bhakti, everything cleaning process is happening, attainment of success is happening. Uh, but okay, what about if we have a soap or a shampoo? Uh, it also helps us to clean faster. But can the shampoo and soap themselves alone can clean us? No. They only aid in attaining purification, but they themselves can't do. Just imagine us if we rub a soap against a hand or a face, it won't clean. It is the need of what? Water. And the important aspect here is that uh, bhakti uh, is that through which we can, yeah, even knowingly, unknowingly, whether knowledge is there or whether the focus is there, huh? But just by taking name of the Lord, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, one is actually getting purified. But just knowing this, but not doing it, uh, will not purify. It's only kind of building us the um, consciousness so that we can execute devotional service. Only when we execute devotional service, then it is going to help us. It is Prabhupada is saying, however, when one understands the ultimate goal of life is to approach Krishna, he realizes Krishna within everyone's heart, and therefore he helps everyone who is interested in Krishna consciousness. Yavat gada graja kathashu ratimna kuryat. Unless one becomes interested in Krishna in his pastimes and activities, there is no question of liberation by means of yoga practice or speculative knowledge. So Rupa Goswami is saying, so one should understand the need of bhakti in one's life, to practice bhakti in life, and how anya abhilashita sunya, without any desire of what anya abhilash, in no other, like jnana, karma, and adi, jnana, karma, adi, jnana, karma, adi, anavritam, anukulyena krishnanu bhaktir uttama. So that is the position, that is the um, supreme position of bhakti, uh, and one has to take up to that. And Krishna is saying such thing, this knowledge is attained after many many births. This is real knowledge, it's not so easy. Sometimes we see, hey, why is this person not understanding the need of bhakti? Why is he not practicing bhakti? Why? Krishna is saying, Bahunam Janmanamante Jnanamam Prapadyante. Vasudeva Sarvam iti Samahatma Sudurlabha. Such kind of people are very, very rare. Hmm? So when one understands fully that Krishna is everything and that Krishna consciousness is the highest perfection of life, he becomes Paramahamsa or Mahatma. Such Mahatmas and Paramahamsas are very rare to find. Uh, a pure devotee is never attracted by Hatha Yoga or speculative knowledge. He is simply interested in unalloyed devotional service of the Lord. And that is what it means, that one can use the support of jnana and yoga or jnana and dhyana, uh, but to do what? To practice bhakti properly. uh, but as soon as one comes to the unalloyed devotional stage of life, he is able to give up all other methods of self realization. In other words, when one firmly realizes Krishna as a supreme goal, he is no longer attracted by mystic yoga practice or speculative empirical method of knowledge. Yeah, and in this way, Prithu Maharaj, when the time came, was to give up his body, he fixed his mind firmly upon the lotus feet of Krishna, and then completely situated on Brahmabhuta platform. Uh, Prabhupada gives, and he gave up the material body. So this is the point. According to a Bengali proverb, whatever spiritual progress one makes in his life will be tested at the time of death. This is very important. And if we can understand this, if we play, what is it called? Uh, Take one, take two, take three in our own life, imagining, death is imminent, death is for sure going to come. Am I prepared? Yeah, we have to assess ourselves. We have to assess our consciousness. How are we? When situation comes, am I taking to Krishna or am I still thinking about something else? This is yam yam vapi smaran bhavam tajatante kalevaram tam tam evaiti kauntaya sada tad bhava bhavita. So this is very important. Uh, when this is happening, those who are practicing Krishna consciousness know that their examination will be held at the time of death. If one can remember Krishna at death, he is immediately transferred to Goloka, Vrindavan, or Krishna Lok, and thus in his life becomes successful. So, and what is that? And when he gives up his body on the Brahmabhuta stage by practicing the yoga process, he is jubilant because he knows that he is going to attain perfection. It is thoroughly described in the following verses how one can voluntarily give up this body and return home back to Godhead. The yoga process practiced by Prithu Maharaj at the time of death accelerates the giving up of this body while one is in sound health, physically and mentally. Uh, Kulashekar, in Mukundamala Stotra, he says, Krishna Tvadiya Pada Pankajarantam. Sorry, Pankaja Panjarantam. When this body, when we are going to give up, what should I Advai Adhyaiva me Vasatu Manasa Raja Hamsa Prana Prayana Samaye Kappa Pata Pittai uh, Kantavarodhana Vidho Smarana Kutaste. This is what he is praying that he wanted to give up his body while in a healthy state. And this is also when we all want that, oh, just when I'm actually doing my japa, that too, the best round of my life, only then may Lord take me, oh, that too, so that I can avoid the suffering of the old age or suffering of diseases and suffering of the pain of death. No, I am perfectly now, I can handle these things. So, as King Kulashekara is praying, he thus prayed to Krishna to let him die immediately while he was in good health and while his mind was sound. When a man dies, he is generally overpowered by mucus and bile, and thus he chokes. Uh, so, devotee life, devotional service is a preparation so that at that time, what are we doing? Since it is very difficult to vibrate any sound while choking, it is simply by Krishna's grace that one can chant Hare Krishna at the time of death. So, what does this mean? That we are showing Krishna genuine interest that I am sincere, I want to come back to you. I made a mess of my life. And I've been traveling in different bodies. Uh, Now, I want to come back. So, when we show this genuine interest and sincerity and determination and dedicate our life in the service of the Lord, only then by Krishna's grace we can actually take the name of the Lord at the time of death. However, by situating oneself in Muktasana, and there is also further explanation. I don't know, did I cover? Um, there is explanation how did Prithu Maharaj left his body. He actually was in the Muktasana where he folded legs and closing the anal hole so that then he can start bringing the life air from the different yeah, chakras and then bring it to the top. I think that is going to come. Yeah. So this is what he did. He blocked the door of his anus with his ankles pressed his right and left calves and gradually raised his life air upward, passing it on to the circle of his navel up to his heart and throat, and finally pushed it upward to the central position between his two eyebrows. And Prabhupada writes, this is what is called Muktasana. Mukta means liberation. So this is the means through which one who is a yogi uh, does this. So he himself. The ultimate aim of yoga is to enable one to give up this body according to his own free will. One who has attained the ultimate summit of yoga practice can live in the body as long as he likes, as long as he is not completely perfect. As long as he is not perfect, do it. But uh, some yogis leave their body to go to the higher planets and enjoy the material facilities therein. However, intelligent yogis do not wish to waste their time within this material world at all. They do not care for material facilities in the higher planets, but are interested going back straight to the spiritual sky, back to home, back to Godhead. Uh, from the description in this verse, it appears that Maharaj Prithu had no desire to promote himself to higher planets. He wanted to return home immediately. Uh, Although Maharaj Prithu stopped all the practice of mystic yoga after realizing Krishna consciousness, uh, he still he took this. After all, when we have learned so much, uh, if it can help us to go faster in our devotional service and in, success, then why not? So Prithu Maharaj, who is expert in doing this. Uh, the aim of this particular asana, Mukta asana, uh, uh, is to attain success in Kundalini chakra and gradually raise the life from Mooladhara to Swadhisthana and then Manipura and Anahata, Vishuddha, and Agnya chakra. When the yogi reaches the Agnya chakra between the two eyebrows, he is able to penetrate the Brahmarandra, which is on in the skull, and through that, and go to any planet he desires up to the spiritual kingdom of Vaikuntha or Krishna Lok. The conclusion is that one has to come to the Brahma Buddha stage for going back to Godhead. And what is the means? Shravanam, Kirtanam, Vishnu Smaranam, Padasevanam can return to Godhead without even practicing the Muktasana. We may think, oh, now I need to look for a yoga school. Um, yeah, yesterday I was in a fitness center where I saw that there was something advertisement for it's written new generation yoga, where the guy is balancing on one leg and like in a flying Viman position, and yeah, so there are so many generation of yogas, and ultimately they can be a trap. And we think that, oh, we are practicing yoga, but the purpose of practicing yoga is to attain this Brahmabhuta stage. If we are not understanding this, if we are not taught this, then it is only a disturbance. So one can, through Kriya Yoga or different yogas, one can attain all these things, but it's of no use when we don't use it for the right purpose. Hmm. And then, in this way, Prithu Maharaj gradually raised his air uh, uh, of life up to the hole in his skull, whereupon he lost all desire for material existence. And then what happened? Gradually, he merged his air of life with the totality of air, his body with the totality of earth, and fire within this body with totality of fire. So, through this process, what he has done is his material body, and then this, um, yeah, our body. I mean, Prabhupada mentions our body is made up of all these things. When we take birth in the womb of a mother, then we have took all these things, and when we leave, we give them back. From the material body is composed of five gross elements and three subtle elements. When one attains liberation, he is freed from these material covering. Indeed, success in yoga involves getting free from this material covering and entering into the spiritual existence. Lord Brahma, Lord Buddha taught nirvana on void. hmm, Based on this principle, Lord Buddha instructed his followers to give up their material covering by means of meditation and yoga. Lord Buddha did not give any information about the soul, but if one follows his instructions strictly, he will ultimately become free from material covering and attain nirvana. But when a living entity gives up the material covering, he remains a spirit soul. This spirit soul must enter into the spiritual sky to merge into the Brahman Jyoti. Unfortunately, unless the living entity has information about spiritual world Vaikuntha, there is a 99.9% chance of his falling down again into the material existence. So it is very important. There is, however, a small chance of being promoted to a spiritual planet from Brahma Jyoti, from Brahma Jyoti. The Brahma Jyoti is considered by the impersonalist to be without variety. What is that? Nirvishesha. Nirvishesha. Uh, and then by Buddhist, it is considered as void. Shunyavadi. Nirvishesha Shunyavadi. This is what is the understanding. In either case, whether one accepts the spiritual sky as being without variety or void, there is none of the spiritual bliss which is enjoyed in the spiritual planets. In the absence of variety of enjoyment, the spirit soul gradually feels an attraction to enjoy bliss of life, and not having any information of Krishna Lok, he naturally falls down to the material activities in order to enjoy the material varieties. So the reason why one may come after attaining Brahman realization also is because of not knowing further about Krishna Lok. Uh, so and then in this way, according to different positions of various parts of the body, Prithu Maharaj merged the wholes of his senses with sky, his bodily liquids such as blood and various secretions with the totality of water, and he merged earth with water, and then water with fire, fire with air, and yeah, there's whole signs of how in this way, yeah, just like in Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam second canto, there is whole description, secondary creation, how everything happened. Uh, so all these things. So reverse process happens when we leave this world. Uh, so इन्द्रियेषु मनस्तानि तन् मात्रेषु यथोद्भवम् भूतादिनामूनि उत्कृष्य महति आत्मनि सन्दते. So finally, he amalgamated the mind with senses and the senses with sense objects according to their respective positions. He also amalgamated the material ego with total material energy, Mahatattva. In this way, finally, he uh, gave back everything. And this process yeah, looks like very tough, isn't it? How to really, how to do this? We never know. We only know how to make this body. We never know how to detach from it, dissolve it. Yeah. So when the mind is completely washed of all mental contamination, the pure consciousness acts. The sound vibration from the spiritual sky can automatically cleanse all mental contamination. The process of getting the easiest way that we thankfully we don't have to look for these hatha yoga ashtanga yoga schools which are really authentic, because yeah, after all Prithu Maharaj did, so we should now start looking for that. No, 500 years back Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he came and he gave a very wonderful process, Chetav Darpana Marjanam. We need only take the advice of Lord Chaitanya and chant Hare Krishna mantra to cleanse the mind of all contamination, and this may be considered the summary of this difficult verse. When we are talking about how is this everything is fusioned and diffused, uh, ultimately the purpose, as soon as the whole mental contamination is washed away by this process of chanting, all desires and reactions to the mental activities become immediately vanquished. In this age of Kali, it is very difficult to adopt the yogic process mentioned in this verse, unless one is very expert in such yoga. The best course is to adopt the ways and means of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, Sri Krishna, Sankirtanam. Thus, one can gloriously become freed from all mental contamination by simple process of chanting Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Just as life in this material world has its beginning in material sound, similarly, a spiritual life has its beginning in the spiritual sound vibration. If we understand this, then we understand the need, the means through which we can get freedom. And then we come to one of the key verse, tam sarvaguna vinyasam jive mayamaye anyadat tam chanusayam atmastham asa asav anusayi puman gnayana vairagya viryena swarupasto ajahat prabhuhu. Prahlad Maharaj then offered the total designation of the living entity unto the supreme controller of illusory energy. Who is that? The Lord, right? Being released from all designations by which the living entity becomes entrapped, he became free by knowledge and renunciation and by spiritual force of his devotional service. In this way, being situated in his original constitutional position of Krishna consciousness, he gave up this body as a Prabhu or controller of senses. As a Prabhu. Prabhupada mentions the meaning of Prabhu in the purport. Uh, First of all, he's saying Maya Maya. Maya means this material external energy. Maya Maya. Who is the owner of it? The Supreme Person. He is sometimes called Maya Maya or the Supreme Person who can create his pastimes through his potency known as material energy. The jiva or living entity becomes entrapped by the material energy, by the supreme will of the supreme personhood of Godhead. Uh, uh, this is what is happening. Ultimately, that is the difference between living entity and the supreme being. Lord has full control of the material energy, but we do not have. We have only choice whether to engage in the material energy or not, but we cannot control the material energy, but Lord can. Uh, Ishvara sarva bhutanam hruddeshe arjuna tishtati brahmayan sarva bhutani yantra rudhani maya. Yantra rudhan, just a machine works, right? So this whole creation is um, which are known as yantra or the moving vehicle offered by the total material energy. This is the material energy, Maya. It's everything is under the will and control of the Supreme Lord. Although living entity and the Lord are both situated within the material energy, the Lord is directing the movements of Jiva soul by offering him different types of bodies through the material energy, and thus the living entity is wandering. When Prithu Maharaj became spiritually powerful by enhancement of his spiritual knowledge, jnana, and renunciation of material desire, he became a Prabhu, uh, or a master of his senses, sometimes called Goswami or Swami. So Prabhupada helps us here to understand the meaning of what is Prabhu, what is Goswami, Swami, or actually, uh, when one becomes free. uh, this means that he was no longer controlled by the influence of material energy. Prabhu means master, which means he is not servant, he is master. One who is strong enough to give up the influence of material energy, he is called Prabhu. I repeat, when one is strong enough to give up the influence of metal energy, he is called Prabhu. In this verse, Swarupastha is also very significant. The real identity of individual soul lies in understanding or attaining the knowledge that he is eternally servant of the Lord. Uh, Swarup, here there is a mention about Swarupopalabdhi means Upalabdhi means to attain. Swarupopalabdhi means by culturing devotional service, the devotee gradually comes to understand his actual relationship with the Supreme Lord. This understanding uh, of one's pure spiritual position is Swarupopalabdhi. And when one attains that stage, he can understand that he is related with the Supreme Lord as a servant or a friend or a parent or conjugal lover. This stage of understanding is called Swarupastha. uh, and Prithu Maharaj realized this Swarupa completely, and it will be clear in the later verses that he personally left this world by riding on a chariot sent from Vaikuntha. There is a Vaikuntha plane that comes to pick up Prithu Maharaj and Archie. And Prabhupada helps. In this verse, Prabhu is also significant as stated before when one is completely self realized and acts according to that position, he can be called Prabhu. Uh, Prabhu means one who is um, uh, has this understanding that he is completely self-realized, and the spiritual master is addressed as Prabhupada because he is a completely self-realized soul. The word pada means position, and Prabhupada indicates that he is given the position of Prabhu or the Supreme Personality of Godhead, for he acts on the behalf of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Unless one is a Prabhu or controller of the senses, he cannot act as spiritual master, who is authorized by the Supreme Prabhu, Lord Krishna. So Lord Krishna, along with the parampara, he is authorizing who can become the real master, who can become the real Prabhupada. In this verse, praising Srila is in his verse praising spiritual master Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur writes Sakshat Dharitvena Samasta Shastra Uktastata Bhavyata Eva Shabdihi. Uh, the spiritual master is honored as much as the Supreme Lord because he is the most confidential servitor of Lord. Thus, Prithu Maharaj can also be called Prabhupada, uh, or as described here in Prabhu. Another question may be raised in this connection. Since Prithu Maharaj was a power incarnation of the Supreme Lord, Shakti-Avesh Avatar, why did he have to execute the regulative principles in order to become Prabhu? Because he appeared on this earth as an ideal king to show others how an ideal king should be. So he did this. It is said, Apani Achari Bhakti Shikhainu Sabare. Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu instructed others in the process of devotional service by setting the example himself through his own personal action. What did he do? He was not just instructing, he was just doing. Similarly, Prithu Maharaj, although a Shakti-Avesha avatar, still behaved exactly as a devotee in order to achieve the position of Prabhu. Furthermore, Swarupastha means complete liberation. So, when a living entity abandons the activities of Maya and attains the position from which he can execute devotional service, his state is called Swarupastha or complete liberation. And now, from this verse 18, there is a description about what did Archie do. Uh, Archie also has voluntarily followed Prithu into the forest and touched her lotus feet to the ground despite being a delicate queen unsuited to austerities. From here, there is wonderful uh, uh, message to the society how uh, the women community should uh, live or lead a life and leave when they are leaving. Although she did not deserve to live in the forest, she is a queen, had all the facilities, all maid servants. She voluntarily touched uh, her lotus feet to the ground. Means, yeah, she also went with Prithu Maharaj to the forest. And what did she? And in purport, Prabhupada gives the examples. The goddess of fortune, Mother Sita followed her husband Ramchandra when he went to the forest. Lord Ram went to the forest in compliance with the order of his father. But Mother Sita, there was no order. Nonetheless, she voluntarily accepted the path of her husband. Similarly, Gandhari, the wife of King Dhritarashtra, also followed her husband into the forest. And being the wives of great personalities like Prithu, Lord Ramchandra, Dhritarashtra, these were ideal chaste women. Such queens also instruct the general people by showing them how to become a chaste wife and follow the husband in every stage of life. I think in the purport only Prabhupada writes that, yeah, this is what. Uh, Therefore, it is said here that although she did not want to touch her feet to the ground, she nonetheless accepted all difficulties when she went to the forest with her husband. Uh, Although she was not accustomed to such difficulties, Queen followed her husband in regulative principles of life, of living in the forest like sages. She lay down on the ground and ate only fruits, flowers, and leaves. And because she was not fit for these activities, she became frail and thin. Yet, because of pleasure she derived in serving her husband, she did not feel any difficulties. So, when we are doing activities, the key thing is that the pleasure from that activity that drives us, that motivates. Uh, Even though we may not have physical stamina, we may not have mental, but when we are satisfied, when we are getting pleasure, we desire to do it more. Uh, like when in the last days of His Holiness Kadambakaran Maharaj, yeah, there was this question, how can you do all this in spite of such a terrible pain that you are going through? Uh, Maharaj said that, yeah, it's only the desire. Otherwise, I can't do this. It's only the desire. So, the pleasure uh, drives this desire. Mm, Yeah, because yes, I am serving the Lord to His pleasure. So let me continue whatever extent I can. The word Bhartur, Vrata, Dharma, Nishtaya indicates that a woman's duty or religious principle is to serve her husband in all conditions. In Vedic civilization, a man is taught from beginning of his life to become brahmachari, then an ideal grihastha, then vanaprastha, then sannyas. And the wife is taught just to follow the husband strictly in all conditions of life. After the period of brahmacharya, a man accepts a householder life, and woman is also taught by her parents to be a chaste wife. Thus, when a girl and boy are united, both are trained for a life dedicated to a higher purpose. The boy is trained to execute his duty in accordance with higher purpose of life, and the girl is trained to follow him. The chaste wife's duty is to keep her husband pleased in householder life in all respects. Huh? And when the husband retires from the family life, she is to go to the forest and adopt the life of Vanaprastha and Vanavasi or Vanavasi. At that time, the wife is to follow her husband and take care of him, just as she took care of him in the householder life. But when the husband takes the renounced order of life, namely sannyas, the wife is to return home and become a saintly woman, setting an example for what is the role? Yeah, people ask, hey, why is this? Mm, Why the lady should come back is to set an example for her children and daughters-in-law and show them how to live a life of austerity. Uh, so, in that way, the the system is set up such a way that one can uh, attain perfection. It's not like same work one has to do. uh, it is important that same goal we reach perfection. When Chaitanya Mahaprabhu took sannyas, his wife Vishnupriya Devi, although only 16 years old, 16 years old, also took the vow of austerity due to her husband's leaving home. Then um, she chanted her beads, and after finishing one round, she collected one grain of rice. In this way, as many rounds as she chanted, she would receive the same number of rice grains and then cook them and so take prasad. So only that much. This is called austerity. And even today in India, widows or women whose husbands have taken sannyas follow the principles of austerity, even though they live with their children. It's not like okay, if we are in sansar, then again there is a chance of we being carried away with affection and all. Yeah, but when we know the purpose, uh, to set example, we lead a life of example. Uh, Prithu Maharaj's wife Archie was steadily determined to execute the duty of a wife, and while her husband was in the forest, she followed him in eating only fruits and leaves and laying down on the ground. Since a woman's body is considerably more delicate than a man's, Queen Archie became very frail and thin. Parikashita. When one engages in austerities, his body generally become lean and thin. So Prabhupada writes, becoming fat is not a very good qualification in spiritual life because a person who is engaged in spiritual life must reduce the comforts of body, namely eating, sleeping, and mating, to a minimum. Although Queen Archie became very thin from living in the forest, she was not unhappy, for she was enjoying the honor of serving her husband, her great husband. So this goes further when Queen Archie saw that her husband, who had been so merciful to her and earth, no longer showed symptoms of life. She lamented for a moment, for a while, actually, for a while, uh, kinchit, for a while, and then built a uh, fairy pyre on top of a hill and placed the body of her husband on it. And then she arranged uh, all the process. When Prithu Maharaj is described here as Daita, uh, for not only was he is the king of earth, but he treated the earth as his protected child. Similarly, he protected his wife also. It was the duty of the king to give protection to everyone, especially to earth or land which he ruled, as well as the citizens and his family members. Since Prithu Maharaj was a perfect king, he gave protection to everyone, and therefore he is described here as Daita. And yeah, so in this way, Queen Archie, um, she also, after arranging everything, she lit the fire of her husband. After the queen executed the necessary funeral functions and offered oblations of water, after bathing in the river, she offered obeisances to various demigods, and she then circumambulated the fire. And while thinking of the lotus feet of her husband, entered its flames. We heard about what is called Sahagaman, Sati Sahagaman, and Prabhupada gives example even until even 1940 there is a case who has done this. Even after 1940, we personally knew of a chaste wife who died in this way. Uh, so, uh, which means dying with the husband, Sahagaman. This system of Sahagaman had been practiced in Vedic civilization from time immemorial. Even after the British period in India, this practice was rigidly observed, but soon it degraded to the point that even when the wife was not strong enough to enter the fire of her husband, her dead husband, the relatives would force her to enter. Thus, this practice had to be stopped. But even today, there are still some solitary cases where a wife will voluntarily enter the fire and die with her husband. What is the purpose? Ah, this is next verse. After observing this brave act performed by the chaste wife Archi, the wife of great King Prithu, many thousands of wives of demigods, along with their husbands, offered prayers to the queen, for they were very much satisfied. Uh, they were very much satisfied seeing this. Oh, uh, and then all they started glorifying all glories to Queen Archi. She served her husband with mind, speech, and body exactly as Lakshmi served Vishnu. And then she surpassed the Devatas. Yeah. And then what is happening after this was going on? Uh, at that time, demigods were situated. Now, what is happening is the plane. There is a Vaikunta. A plane came from Vaikunta to take her. Uh, at that time, the demigods were situated on the top of Mandara hill, and all their wives began to shower flowers on the funeral pyre and began to talk amongst themselves as follows. What did they say? Is uh, uh, all glories to Queen Archi. We can see that this queen, the emperor of all, the wife of Emperor Prithu Maharaj, has served her husband with mind, speech, and word exactly as goddess of Yagnesha. Goddess will worship Lord Vishnu. In that regard, Prabhupada gives example that when Lord Krishna was ruling over Dwarka, Queen Rukmini, who was the chief of all queens, used to serve Krishna personally in spite of having hundreds of maid servants to assist her. Similarly, goddess of fortune in Vaikuntha planets also serve Narayan personally. Although there are many thousands of devotees prepared to serve him, still Lakshmi Devi does this. This practice is also followed by wives of demigods, and days past, the wives of men also followed this same principle. In Vedic civilization, the husband and wife were not separated by such man made laws as divorce. We should understand the necessity for maintaining family life in human society and should thus abolish this artificial law known as divorce. The husband and wife should live in Krishna consciousness and follow in the footsteps of Lakshmi Narayan, Krishna, Rukmini. In this way, peace and harmony can be possible within this world. Then we come to this. The wives continued saying, "Hey, you see how this chaste lady, by dint of her inconceivable pious activities, is still following her husband upward as far as we can see." Prabhupada mentions this means the demigods had the power to see things that are happening in the lower planets and also things are happening in the higher planets until Brahmaloka. Yeah, Urdhvam, the upward, uh, highest, that is the highest planet that they can see. For the lady speaking, were from the higher planets, which include the moon, sun, Venus, up to Brahmaloka or the highest planet. Yeah, beyond Brahmaloka is spiritual sky, and in that spiritual sky, there are innumerable Vaikunthas. Huh. So, uh, this also indicates that when Prithu Maharaj and his wife abandoned their metal bodies in the metal fire, they immediately developed their spiritual bodies and entered into spiritual airplanes, which could penetrate the metal elements. The ladies in higher planetary systems were capable of seeing both downward and upward. When they looked down, they could see the body of Prithu and were that was burning. And when they were seeing upward, they could see how they were being carried in two planes to Vaikuntha Lok. All of this is possible. By what? This is very nice word. Durvi, Durvibhavyena karmana. uh, Inconceivable activity. Only that, yeah, it's possible. A woman does not need to attain a high qualification, but if she simply follows in the footsteps of her husband, who must be a devotee, Prabhupada puts in additional emphasis, then both husband and wife attain liberation and are promoted are promoted to Vaikuntha Loka. And then Tesham Durapam Kim Tva Anyan Matyanam Bhagavat Padam Bhuvi Lolayusha Evai Naishkarmyam Sadhayanti Uta. One, what one has to do is mentioned here. In this material world, every human being has a short span of life, but those who are engaged in devotional service go back home, back to Godhead, for they are actually on the path of liberation. For such persons, there is nothing which is not available. And the next verse is the key verse. Again, a very important verse, which is telling, otherwise, what is it means? Any person who engages himself within the material world, which means karmis, world, in performing activities that necessitate great struggle, uh, and who, after obtaining a human form of life, which is a chance to attain liberation from miseries, and if he doesn't make best of the life and undertakes the difficult tasks of fruitive activities, karma kanda, must be considered to be cheated and envious of his own self. Huh? So he's really cheated. Why? Because the purpose of life, if you don't understand, if you don't do it, though we have great opportunity, we missing the uh, we miss the chance. The same. If you remember Devahuti, right? Mother Devahuti, she was thinking, hey, my husband, who's Kardama Muni, who attained perfection, my son Kapiladev, who is none other than incarnation of the Lord, uh, uh, even after having such wonderful opportunity, uh, I am still living in this material world. Definitely, this means uh, I'm cheated. Huh? Because ultimately, when we have the opportunity, when we are having this Bhagavad Katha, when we are having the devotional service opportunities, but if we are not prioritizing them, what will happen? What will happen is, yeah, we are just cheating ourselves. In this, Prabhupada writes in the purport, in this material world, people are engaged in different activities, similar, simply to achieve a little success in sense gratification. There are different kinds of people, karmis, gyanis, yogis, different people take different means, but that is not the purpose. The purpose is, uh, as Krishna himself proclaims in Bhagavad Gita 7:23, Antavant tu phalam tesham, the fruits of those who worship the demigods are limited and temporary. Thus, the fruits of activities of yogis, karmis, and jnanis are uh, ephemeral. Moreover, Krishna says, Tad bhavati alpamedasa. They are simply meant for men of small intelligence. Rather, we should understand that we should not be cheated. Vanchita. The wives of demigods condemn the performance of sense gratification activities as vanchita, cheated. Those so engaged are actually killing themselves. Uh, Atmahatya, right? Atmaha. And then there is further Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam reference which gives that uh, when one wants to cross a large ocean, he requires a strong boat. It is said that this human form of life is a good boat by which one can cross the ocean of designs. In the human form of life, one can obtain the guidance of a good navigator, the spiritual master. One also gets a favorable wind by the mercy of Krishna, and that wind is the instructions of Krishna. The human body is the boat, and the instructions of Lord Krishna are favorable winds, and the spiritual master is the navigator. The spiritual master knows well how to adjust the sails to catch the winds favorable and steer the boat to its destination. If, however, one does not take advantage of this opportunity, one wastes the human form of life. Wasting time and life in this way is the same as committing suicide. So, this is what it said. Uh, uh, Ladva Apavarga means uh, Jiva Goswami is saying Apavargyam, or the path of liberation, does not refer to merging into the Brahmajyoti, but to Salokyadi Siddhi, which means attaining the very planet where the Supreme Personality of Godhead resides. There are five kinds of liberation: Sayujya Mukti, which is merging into the existence of the Supreme or the impersonal Brahman. However, since there is a chance of once falling down again into the material sky from the Brahmajyoti, Srila Jiva Goswami advises that in this human form of life, one only aim should be to go back home. The word sa, vanchita, indicates that once a person has obtained a human life, he actually is cheated if he does not make preparation to go back to home, back to Godhead. The position of all non-devotees who are not interested in going uh, back home is very much lamentable, for the human form of life is meant for executing devotional service and nothing else. After this, Maitreya Rishi is now going to tell or conclude the Palastuti. Before that, he is just mentioning. Uh, in this way, uh, my dear Vidura, when the wives of denizens of heaven were thus talking about among themselves, Queen Archi reached the planet where her husband Maharaj Prithu, the topmost self-realized soul, had attained. In this particular verse, there is a very nice word. What is that? Uh, Stuvat, Stuvatiswa Amara Strishu Patilokam Gata Vadhu. Patilokam. This is the first time I came across this word, and I was looking where does it located. Yeah, Pitralok, like just like, and Prabhupada writes in purport. In the material world, there is also somewhere a Patilok where if someone is going along with their husband, they also reach. And Prabhupada says in case of Prithu Maharaj, because he attained perfection, he reached Vaikuntha planet. Yeah, so Queen Archi also followed. She also attained the same. Yeah. In this word, the word Patilok does not refer to any planet within this material world. For Prithu Maharaj, being topmost among self-realized souls, certainly returned home and attained one of the Vaikuntha planets. Queen Archi also entered Patilok, but this planet is not in the material universe. For she actually entered the planet which her husband attained, which is in uh, Vaikuntha planet. Maharaj Prithu and Queen Archi united in the Vaikuntha planets. In the Vaikuntha planets, there are husbands and wives, but there is no question of their giving birth to children or having sex life. In the Vaikuntha planets, both husband and wives are extraordinarily beautiful and they are attracted to one another, but they do not enjoy sex life. Indeed, they consider sex not to be very relishable because both husband and wife are always absorbed in Krishna consciousness. Therefore, Vaikuntha even while in this material world. How? That is the best advancement in devotional service. He actually experiences living in Vaikuntha. What is that? Yeah. In ultimate issue, there is actually no material world. But when one forgets the service of Lord and engages himself in the service of his senses, he is said to be living in the material world. So saying so, now he is concluding. Maitreya Rishi is concluding the whole wonderful Prithu Maharaj pastime. Uh, the greatest of all devotees, Maharaj Prithu, was very powerful and his character was liberal, magnificent, and magnanimous. Thus, I have described him to you as far as possible. Uh, and he in the word used as here is Bhagavatottama. Uh, Bhagavat means refers to Supreme Lord, and not everyone can be. In the purport Prabhupada is saying, not everyone can be called Bhagavan. Bhagavan. We can't simply use it so casually. Bhagavan in the Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam we can see is used sometimes for great personalities like Lord Brahma, Lord Shiva, Narada Muni. Yeah, and in this case with Prithu Maharaj, who is described here as the best of Bhagavans or the best of the Lords. A person can be so addressed only if he is a great personality who exhibits extraordinary and uncommon features, or who attains the greatest goal after his disappearance, or who knows the difference between knowledge and ignorance. So only them, we can't casually use this word. And we want to now know what is the Falastuti. And the Falastuti is nice. One who faithfully and attentively reads or hears these pastimes attains the abode of Prithu, which means if we are faithfully listening the greatness, the life and teachings of Prithu Maharaj, we attain him. Uh, and verse number 32 is saying that a Brahman becomes the most learned, a Kshatriya becomes the leader of this world, a Vaishya becomes a master of other Vaishyas and cows, a Shudra becomes the best devotee. Uh, and in the purport, Prabhupada is saying that this verse is telling when someone, a Brahman becomes a real Brahman, which means uh, if someone is born in a Brahmana family, he is not automatically becoming a Brahman unless he gets the Brahma Tejas. So it means that by hearing to this pastime, one will get this Brahma Tejas and he will become a real Brahman. A Kshatriya, by birth he may be a Kshatriya, but actually to become the leader he needs the qualities. By hearing to the pastimes of Prithu Maharaj, one gets that. And Vaishyas, we see that Nanda Maharaj, what is the essence? Is to understand the Lord, to serve the Lord. And Nanda Maharaj is the king of the Vaishyas community. And about Shudras, yeah, let me see what did Prabhupada say about that. I think it is it coming as part of 32, right? Brahmano Brahma Vachasvi. So, a Shudras, right? So, a person who is born in a Shudra family can become greater than a Brahman simply by accepting devotional service. So we may not think, oh, let me go through this. Only I think that way I can become the best Brahman. So if a Shudra can become devotee just by hearing to this, which is a Vaishnava and which is higher to the Brahmanas. A person who is born in a Shudra family can become greater than a Brahmana simply by accepting devotional service and giving oral reception of the pastimes of the Lord and his devotees. And then it doesn't matter whether one is a man or a woman. Anyone who, with great respect, hears this narration of Prithu Maharaj will become the parent of many children if without children, and will become the richest if without money. This is what and the purport Prabhupada is mentioning. Those who are materially afflicted will so benefit by hearing of the Supreme Lord and his devotees that they need not go to any demigod. The word Suprajatama means surrounded by many children is very significant in this verse. For one may have many children but may not have any qualified children. Uh, that is the reason it's used Supraja. Praja means people, uh, not qualified, can be qualified. Suprajatama means that all children thus attained would be qualified in education, wealth, beauty, and strength. And then 34 is telling a person with no reputation becomes famous, a fool becomes learned, and one gains all auspicious and no auspicious, no inauspiciousness in their life. And it goes further that uh, Dhanyam. By hearing the narration of Prithu Maharaj, one can become Dhanya, become great, increase his duration of life, gain promotion to heavenly planets, and counteract the contamination of this age of Kali. Uh, in addition, one can promote the causes of religion, economic development, sense gratification, and liberation. Therefore, from all sides, it's advisable for a materialistic person who is interested in such things to read and hear the narrations of the life and character of Prithu Maharaj. We have this in Bhagavatam, Akama Sarva Kamo Va Moksha Kama Vyudharati Tivrena Bhakti Yogena Yajeta Purusham Param. So just by becoming a devotee will solve all the problems. So here is the proof from this verse. A king attains victory, ruling power, and tribute from subordinate kings. So that is the reason it's very important. One must hear this. Mukta, Muktanya Sango Bhagavati Amalam Bhaktim Udvaham Vainya Vainyasya Charitam Punyam Shruncha Shravayet Patet Patet. Sorry. So a pure devotee who is executing the devotional process, different devotional processes may be situated in the transcendental position. But even if he, while discharging devotional service, must hear, read, and induce others to hear about the character and life of Prithu Maharaj. So this is the secret. How can we attain perfection? How can we get best is we hear and we tell. We hear and we tell. This is preaching program. And final conclusion. So Sage Maitreya is saying, my dear Vidra, I have, as far as possible, spoken the narration about Prithu Maharaj, uh, which enrich one's devotional attitude. Whoever takes advantage of these benefit also goes back home, back to Godhead, like Prithu Maharaj. If just by hearing we can attain perfection. Whoever with great reverence and adoration regularly reads, chants, and describes the history of Maharaj Prithu activities will certainly increase unflinching faith and attraction for the lotus feet of the Lord. The Lord's lotus feet are the boat by which one can cross over the ocean of desires. So that's it. Yeah. In the purport, Prabhupada is saying that Vimukta Sangha is also significant in this connection because we associate with the three qualities of nature, but by Shravanam Kirtanam, we become Vimukta Sangha. We immediately become liberated. Yeah, Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji. Hare Krishna Prabhuji. Are you able to hear Prabhuji?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Yes, Prabhuji. Thank you for this wonderful pastime of Maharaj narration. Prabhuji, about Gandhari, I had a question in my mind that her husband was not a devotee. If
Yeah.
she has given 100% of her life to her husband, still because for woman it is as it was said that yeah, you should 100%, yeah, yeah. So for her the best thing is, yeah, to do 100% for her husband. So what is her next life? Would it would she go where her husband goes, or will she go because she has served? So Lord will consider it as, yeah, following his instruction, and she will go to
Your
Vaikuntha.
question, your question is what will be happening, right? So first thing is being a chaste wife, she's already in the list of all, yeah. So I think 13. How many? Uh, So still, I mean, first of all, she attained glorification, yeah, and she attained perfection in a sense that though it is Ravana, for example, if we talk about in the case of Mandadari, give me 1 second, let me clear my nose and come back. Yeah, I'm not able to. Hare Krishna. Yeah. So, so regarding your question, what happens to them? Yeah, because they are chaste wife, they attain perfection because they have served their husbands. But even in the case of Draupadi, in the case of Gandhari and in the case of Mandodari, mm, they didn't just get carried away and engage themselves in the sinful activity. Mm. They were always kind of trying to see what best they can uh, while they are executing their services, serving their husband. But we're all, if you see Mandodari very well, now when she understood about the Lord Ram, she was always telling to Ravan not to do this. First of all, you need to lead a dharmic life. This is what, and in the case of Gandhari also, she didn't uh, support Dhritarashtra. Yeah. So in both the cases, they are chaste wife. Doesn't mean that they just followed in the uh, footsteps of their husband. If they have done adharma, they didn't engage in the that adharma. So that's why uh, their next destination would be higher. If it was like, okay, the wives are, as Prabhupada is mentioning, if the husbands are devotees, then the wives follow so that they can also develop the devotion. Otherwise, what they do is just serve the husband. Of course, they didn't serve their husbands in arranging all the weapons and, bless them all victory. Uh, yeah. Gaur Bhagwan Prabhu?
Yes, Guruji. So they were, yeah, by
Yeah.
heart may not be supporting, but as a duty
Yeah.
they were
They were doing, yeah, they were fulfilling the duty, but at the same time, they uh, they didn't enter into the path of adharma. Yeah, and obviously, as your question is, yeah, definitely they'll get a mm, better situation, better position than now. And asking about whether did she also went where Ravana went, I don't know, or where Dhritarashtra went, but at least because they have followed. Uh, I don't know. I have not read somewhere where they did the Sati Sagaman. Hmm. So that means they wouldn't have. There is nothing as such that okay they have followed in the same planet. They are living where their husbands were. Hmm.
and Prabhuji, this Sati's
Oh
Agman.
wait a second. In Ramayana, in the Yuddhakanda, in the end, what happens when all the queen comes? When Ravan is dead, lying in the battlefield, Mandodari comes, and along with her, all the queens come, and there is some conversation that is there. I have to check what happened. What did she do? Yeah, we may get it from there.
Okay,
If someone knows how, if they can remember when we were going through Yuddhakanda last chapters, I think chapter 123, I think that is giving us that. I'll check and tell you before I say something wrong. Yeah.
yes,
Yeah.
Prabhuji,
Yeah.
this Sati's Agman and going back to family, both are good for
So,
showing austerity
so
value. And
going back to family, you mean wife going back to family? Is that the question?
yes, for
Yeah,
showing the austerity, life of
yeah.
austerity.
So, my understanding here is that when the husband is still in Vanaprastha, then the wife is still there. But when the husband is only entering into sannyas ashram, then she goes back. Mm. Yeah, in the case of Pandu, King Pandu, what happened was that he didn't take sannyas, right? And there was this case of Madri who entered the Sati Sagaman. She entered into the fire, and so we are talking about returning only if one is taking sannyas. Otherwise, one can stay with the husband in the Vanapasth.
Prabhuji, here Archie had Sati Sagman because Prithvi Maharaj went in Vanprastha and he did not, yeah,
Yeah,
he
he
just
didn't take
left in the
sannyas.
Vanprastha.
Yeah, yeah.
Because also the Prithvi Maharaj had already given all the things with their children, so she did not need to go back.
Uh, what? Say
So
again.
Prithvi Maharaj had already instructed his sons and how to live life, and that's why he did not go to
No,
teach
no, it
them.
is her. It is her. Yeah. So she wanted to join. Yeah. So because as a chaste wife, she want to also stay with her husband later also, so that she can continue serving. That is the thing where they go to a lok, and this is what Prabhupada also mentions in Vaikuntha planet. There are wife and husband. They serve each other, but so caring each other at the same time having the prime purpose is to serve Krishna. So yeah, so this is what is the reason behind why Sati Sagaman is approved, so that they can so that Sati can continue that she can continue serving her husband wherever, and through this and if the husband is ending up in nice space in the spiritual world, then both can engage in the service. And I think I came across in another purport in Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam uh, about this, that yeah, if the husband is not going, then it's very dangerous, right? So wife entering, so she is very chaste, uh, but yeah, if the husband is not going to the spiritual world, if he is going to material world, then she is also going with. And in Kali Yuga, yeah, what is the chance? Someone has to be very careful.
Yes, Guruji, but the question was, yeah, if why she did not go back with
Yeah, yeah,
sons.
because she has attachment, she want to serve her husband. Yeah.
Mhm.
So I understood your question is why didn't she go back? Huh? We can see that is she committing suicide? Huh? Or is she neglecting her duty? Or is she neglecting her role as a mother who has to go back and this is your question, right?
Yes.
Yeah, yeah. If these things are there, then there is no question of Sahagaman, right? Sati Sahagaman is also approved and she took that path.
So both are approved.
Yeah, yeah. Both are approved. Going back is coming into picture when, yeah, if the wife, as Prabhupada mentioned, if wife doesn't has genuine interest of going Sati Sahagaman, then she has to, yeah, uh, do the other thing, yeah, going back and taking care different duties. If she has genuinely that she want to, yeah, then she can. This is also approved. Yeah, because
Okay.
forcefully we can't do it. It's just like a social custom because Satisagaman, oh, this is what my ancestors did, my next generation should do, I should do, or you should do in that way. It's not by force. If they want genuinely, yeah, that's what Prabhupada is writing, that even after 1940 also he has seen. Uh,
Thank you, Prabhu.
yeah, okay. Yeah, thank you. Other questions? So finally we came to an end of a wonderful pastime with the Maharaj. So many things to learn. If we write all the lessons, I think a lot is there. Very important we can see is that perfection means by engaging in service of the Lord. This is what Prithu Maharaj did. So uh, key things I think are already about how he ruled the country, uncompromising. And next thing is also that how he uh, timely retired and what did he do after retirement. So all these things, when we go through these phases of our life, when we remember this, I think we are on track and we will attain perfection by Krishna's mercy.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. I have one
Hare
question.
Krishna.
Uh,
Yes.
Prabhuji, when Prithu Maharaj wanted to leave his body, it was also God's wish, Krishna's wish that he should come, right, to him.
Uh, I don't know.
Uh,
How did you see from that?
uh,
Krishna is always wishing that everyone should come back to him, right?
yeah, everyone should come back, but who are really the great person, like uh, who are not the normal person. Like I take the example of Hanumanji and Shriram ji. When he was leaving, he said, "You stay here, and after the end of, if I remember correctly, after the end of Kali Yuga, you come back." Or it can be another examples of the great persons like Prabhupada, um, or another great sages, because
Okay.
when they are deciding to leave the body, it is that their work is over, and then now Krishna wants them back. Or is it that is their desire that, okay, now I want to go back?
Uh, we just continue. So going back or not doesn't matter, right? So we see examples of great devotees where they're not kind of, hey, I want to go back to God, or some may have it. But important is wherever we are, we want to engage in the service of the Lord.
Yes.
So that is what. And Krishna wants or not, yeah. If Krishna is ever eager that every one of us come back, and definitely for his main devotees who pleases him most, he want, but he may engage him, the same person again in some other service, whether it could be material world in a hell or a heaven or even the spiritual world. Yeah,
So he will put, okay, they will be always engaged in service when they are leaving from here to another planet or
there
going
is
back to
there is
Godhead.
never, yeah, there is never a time where one is not engaged in the service of the Lord, especially when we are talking about perfect devotees, pure devotees, right? So even in this world, as Prabhupada was giving example, that grahasthas also can become perfect even while living in this world, even now, by engaging in devotional service.
Mm,
Yeah,
Ji Prabhuji.
yeah.
And Prabhuji, when
And
you will come, yeah.
before I forget, when you were giving example of Hanuman, it was Hanuman decision that he didn't want to go to Ayodhya. He didn't want to go with Ram because
He
he
didn't.
wanted to hear the glories of Ram until the last, until it is stopped. He doesn't want to return.
Okay, yeah, I think I didn't know it. Uh,
Uh-huh.
yeah.
Yeah.
So,
And the Lord, I mean, when Ram was saying, hey, would come, then he said, no, I want to be where the Katha is going on. And that's why, uh, uh, though Hanuman knows a lot, yeah, he's always absorbed in, he's not going and speaking, right? He's ever eager to hear the Ram Katha wherever it's happening. That's why we see, right, where Raman is happening, where Hanuman is also there. Why? This is what he wanted. That's what he
eh,
will
eh,
get here. Yeah.
Ji Prabhuji, I agree with you. Like, if it can happen with the pure devotees also, like
Uh-huh.
when they are so much absorbed in bhakti that they want to, to be close, or to always hear the Krishna's name or kathas and all, but
Okay.
their desire is not maybe to get liberated. They just want to engage all the time in
Yeah.
Krishna's service.
Yeah. That's right. Yeah.
Okay.
So that's why it is said now that the devotee is praying that in whatever condition you put me, whether it's in hell or heaven, I want that provision that I can always remember you, which means at least like always want to serve you.
And Prabhuji, what is the so the in on earth there is Vrindavan, and
Okay.
when I was visiting there, talking to pure devotees, they said when you see from the spiritual eyes, it is Vrindavan Loka. So the uplifted devotees are already there in that Loka, right? Is it right what I am thinking of?
Can you repeat again? Sorry.
Like the pure devotees uh,
See,
who feel.
Vrindavan is of different states. Like even consciousness is uh, Mande, what is that? Vrindavan. So even when our consciousness is matured, then we can feel Vrindavan presence wherever we are, and that is also Vrindavan. Yeah.
Okay.
So,
Yeah.
and of course, there is spiritual world, where the Lord is also manifesting. And in one of the purports, Prabhupada said, in reality, there is no material world. But because our consciousness is not there, that's why we see this as material world. But in fact, this is also spiritual world because the Lord created everything spiritual. It's only that our consciousness is being covered. That's why we see this as material. So in the same way, when our consciousness is not towards, when uh, uh, not focusing on Krishna, then everything that is not Krishna is Maya, right? So everything that way is not Vrindavan. But as soon as when we are seeing Krishna, then everything is Vrindavan. And Golokadam is there. Yeah, of course, Krishna is served by Srimati Radharani, gopis, and really residence is there like of what is it, lotus flower petals. Like everything is still there. It's not like okay, it's only imagination. No, that's really there. And of course, if one wants, as Prabhupada also mentions in one of the purport is, were what is that? S- uh, Brahma Bhuta stage or Visuddha Sattva stage, you want to understand, okay, what is your real relationship with the Lord? And yeah, you can also engage in the service of the Lord in that relationship like a friend, like a, what do you call, a servant, yeah, Dasya, Sakha, like parent Vatsalya Bhav, or in conjugal loving service to the Lord. So for that, yeah, you may go there, you can engage in that services. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Thank you, Prabhuji.
Yeah, thank you. Any other questions?
Hare Krishna Prabhuji and to
Hare Krishna.
everyone.
Yeah, Hare Krishna.
Prabhuji, I want to ask you a question, like based on this Kritu Maharaj story only. I'm trying to kind of link to like, or you can say, I want to learn through this so I can implement in my day-to-day life. So as we know, we are in the Kali Yuga where there is so much of like, you see adharma also, like in small things, like
Okay.
conflicts or the like the fraud and these kind of things. And you also gave some example like uh, how at these days there is like a conflict at home only regarding the material life, like for example, like the ancestral property or something, like how the siblings fight, or it could be even between any other relatives. So can one give up everything this in the name of Krishna, thinking like, okay, the Krishna maybe doesn't want me to be part of this, so I want to give up. Is this the right way? Or like you also see the members saying that no, you must fight for that because injustice happening to you, and you should not take the injustice.
Yeah, Madhuri Mataji, your question is okay, shall I continue part of the injustice, right?
Yeah,
Sometimes it's very tricky, right? So, do we want to fight for the right, or do we want to yeah, after all these things, yeah, do we want to be busy in those things and not do the main dharma? Sarva dharma parijajya mamekam sharanam raja. So, injustice we are doing if we don't take up to this understanding that Krishna is saying, give up everything and you just surrender to me. Are we doing that? That is the topmost, paradharma. Yeah, dharma is
Yes,
there. What about
yes.
paradharma? So this paradharma is very important. If we are not doing, and now paradharma, if you can, yeah, if there is a conflict and if you want to fight, yeah, what is the focus there? If yeah, Prabhupada also when we reading Prabhupada Leelamrit, we see that Prabhupada was whenever there was land kabjas that were happening or temple construction or when the cheatings were happening, Prabhupada was fighting. It's not like he didn't, no, I think this is the will of the Lord, or after all, this is material thing. No, he see his vision is what to establish temples, to engage everyone in service of the Lord for that. So in that matter, whenever we are thinking, if we are fighting, are we going to use that for Krishna? Yeah? Fighting for a piece of land, am I using it for Krishna later? Whether it is land or the money from it.
What if we want to use it for a devotional services? So is it
Yeah, then
okay
we
to
should fight.
engage in conflict?
Then we should fight. Yeah, then we
Okay.
should fight. Again, fight for right. Yeah, it shouldn't be adharmic. Because when
Yes.
again, hook or crook, let me do it and bring it. No, I think even uh, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu teaches that, okay, no, we can't unlawfully, forcefully engage in devotion and we say, hey, no, 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 this is everything is for Krishna, that's why I'm doing. Krishna doesn't approve that. We follow the dharma.
Yes.
Otherwise, uh, what is the purpose of Lord uh, setting up the system with dharma and adharma? Yeah. And
Right.
of course, then there is also niti, there is also rajaniti, there is also kutantra. So many things are there through which we can understand, okay, if this is done, so you are allowed to do this according to Shastras. You can do it.
Yes.
Correct.
Actually, I was
Uh,
trying to understand, like, so now these days you see like this fraud things and all, and can I consider this as a Maya, or like
con-
I should
con-
fight at some depending on the situation that like
uh,
you
I,
explained that
yeah, I didn't understand. What did you say? Today's world, you said something.
yeah yes, so I was trying to understand like in other way, like today you see like the fraud things, not only
Fraud.
in
Okay.
particular thing, but it is there
Cheating.
in very
Cheating
mainly
is
in the
going on. Yeah.
yeah different
Where in
different
this world?
forms.
Yeah.
So
Cheating is going on. So
yeah,
better is that we stay away from cheating business, which means to be in devotee association. Yeah.
yes,
When we are with devotees and devotee association, having katha and engaging in service, Shravanam Kirtanam. Yeah. So what is happening is that we are, at least we are not in that, what do you call this? Field of influence which will affect us, that we should also become cheaters. Yeah, if someone became cheater, I should also counterattack with cheating. Rather than that, okay, yeah. As I said, if something is still that you can engage in service of the Lord, for that we should give our best. And if not, yeah, and Krishna also may have a plan, okay, because ultimately you want to become a devotee, but you have attachment. So Krishna will show a way that that attachment will be gone. Sometimes forcefully, sometimes painfully, sometimes, yeah, the way that you may not want it, right?
yes,
Yeah. So it's always important to have a spiritual master. A guru can tell when to hold on to or when to leave it. Let it
exactly,
go.
yes.
Yeah.
Another thing I want to also, I was not really very much clear.
Uh-huh.
So the Queen Archie, did she like she did it everything by her wish, right? She surrender herself to the
Yeah,
Lord.
she did her
Did
will
she
and
do it
lawful.
for her husband, or like she was thinking only of Krishna at that time, that serving to my husband will lead to the path of Krishna?
Yeah, the teachings as we see Prabhupada was mentioning that Just like how a man is trained how to become a good brahmachari, how to become a good grihastha. So there's also like the principle is that a wife can attain perfection by engaging in service of the husband and family. So that is the principle. Yeah. So in that
Yes.
principle comes automatically serving the Lord. Why? Because the husband is trained to become a devotee, isn't it? Yeah. In
Yes.
his school, he is trained to become a devotee,
Yes,
right?
Prabhuji. Yes.
Yeah.
Thank you, Prabhuji.
Yeah. Thank you. Okay. Other questions? Anything anyone want to add? What do you want to take from session today? We have 5 minutes. Yeah. Anyone want to share anything?
Hare Krishna Prabhu. Thank you for this very deep explanation of today's for the story of returning to God for Piti Maharaj. I don't have any question, but sometimes I feel there is a confusion inside me. Like um, sometimes I feel that not we. Maybe I am feeling that the knowledge and devotion counteracts. Like I feel that even also I've seen or listened to some person who are very, very deep, knowledgeable in Vedantic philosophies, but they sometimes lack devotion. And also we have seen that a very less knowledgeable person who do not even know all this Vedantic philosophy, but they are very great devotees.
Mm. Okay.
So is it like these two things counteract each other, or these can go parallel?
See, as long as we understand the purpose of knowledge is to serve, there is no problem. As soon as when the knowledge is blocking us to get engaged in service, no? Because it is called uh, this is called niyamagraha. Yeah, there is a word called niyamagraha. Niyamagraha means uh, this niyama means rules and regulations. Niyamagraha means not to follow this. Yeah, yeah. After all, come on, this is the job of a Shudra. Oh, this is job of a Kshatriya. This is job of a Brahman. Oh, I am not this. I am a devotee. Huh? Prabhu, you're getting the
Okay.
point? Huh? Come on, I am a Bhagavat. I am a devotee. I am not coming to all these four things. Huh? I don't have to do anything. Only thing I have to do is what? Devotion. And that anyway I am doing. Yeah. Out of 24 hours, 5 minutes I am doing puja part. Yeah, I am a devotee. Krishna is, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is even saying it. Who is a devotee who has chanted at least one time, taken the name of Hari?
Hmm.
So I am doing it. So I am already a devotee. I don't have to do anything. No, when we don't do anything, then we don't get purification. Yeah? When we don't engage ourselves in the Varnashram system properly, when we are not positioned ourselves properly, then how can we get rectified? How can we get? So this knowledge is important, but with knowledge, what we should do is our aim should be using the knowledge to advance in devotion. So that is the reason it has its role. It's not like, as you said, oh, knowledge can it stop us? Yes, if we are not careful, the knowledge can make us lazy. Yeah.
Yes.
Niyamagraha means to avoid doing to practice devotion. No, that is not the purpose. Niyamagraha is to actually use those regulations, rules to regulate ourselves to attain actually devotion. Yeah.
So,
So as I was giving the example, right, of this water and shampoo, right,
mhm.
the soap. Yeah, we when we understand this, it's very clear.
Yes.
The role of knowledge is only that. The role, even in Patanjali Yoga Sutras, uh,
Mm.
first chapter itself, it is said, what is the purpose of yoga? all this breath control, all kinds of these things to do what? To enter in trance. After entering in trance, one forgets himself. When one forgets himself, what is the question of still again going into this thought of, oh, I have to now control my breath, I have to breathe 5 times, I have to exhale 5 times. No, you have already attained what you want. The purpose of doing all this is to come to a stage where we forget ourselves. The purpose of all these things, knowledge, is to do what? We forget ourselves and engage in service of Krishna. If that is not happening, then yeah, we have a problem with that knowledge. Yeah, yeah,
Prabhu. Thank you.
yeah. Thank you. Very important to keep back of our mind. Yes, Rishabh Dev.
Hare Krishna Prabhu, Dhamat Pranam, Jai Shri Prabhupada Chaitanya.
Hare Krishna.
Prabhu, sorry, it's a bit loud here. I have a question. Can you hear me?
Yeah, yeah. Loud and clear.
Okay. Not that clear. Okay. I have a
Loud
question
and
that
clear.
अच्छा loud and clear. मेरे को ही सुनाई नहीं दे रहा ठीक से. Okay, sorry. When it was mentioned that in Vaikuntha planets, uh, couples are together, they can live together and serve the Lord together, but they don't have any more sexual attraction, or
Uh-huh.
I mean, they do have some kind of attraction. I couldn't understand fully what kind of attraction, but no sexual attraction.
Okay.
That's what was mentioned, right? And then, right?
Yeah.
And then
Yeah, yeah. Tell.
I
What's
was
your question?
wondering, sorry, Prabhu.
Yeah, yeah. Go ahead.
Then I was wondering, why can't we achieve a similar level here? And how can we achieve that? Because I find it kind of quite impossible to enter a grahastha ashram and not to be sexually attracted to your partner. And how
Okay.
would that be possible at Vaikuntha? Okay, yeah, please.
Okay. So your question is, can we practice that? Yeah. So there are so many devotees who have done it. Yeah. They are our role models. When we're talking about, I came across a wonderful class by His Holiness Radhanath Maharaj, who was glorifying Her Grace Yamuna Devi, uh, yeah, who is married, but she was always traveling with Prabhupada, uh, always engaged in serving Prabhupada. And did we read, I think yesterday, Hadrasa Prabhu? Prabhupada was mentioning that there should be, uh, uh, traditionally, there are quarters, even for Grihasthas, that, yeah, yesterday only, we were reading about butter and fire. Prabhupada was giving the example that, yeah, so better thing is, yeah, not to, though married, not to stay uh, in close proximities. So at least, yeah, that is the highest level where we see that there are devotees who did it and served Prabhupada. They were always absorbed in serving, serving, and serving. Yeah, and of course, uh, the role of Grihastha ashram is there. Yeah, when we talk about maybe that phase where after Prabhupada, yeah, where there we were reading where how I think Kadamkaran Maharaj was mentioning, I think, where, yes, in these seminars where he gave about sadhu, uh, anu, what is that seminar series? No one. I've shared it in the link, which is sadhu anugaman, I think. Oh no, this is sahagaman. It's coming. Sadhu. Yeah. Anyway, following in the footsteps of sadhus. Yeah, that is the seminars that he gave. In that he mentioned how things have changed in ISKCON. Yeah, from the time of when Prabhupada was there, where Grihasthas, yeah, though they are married, yeah, all the time they were in the temple. Uh, how they were always absorbed in serving. They have different projects, and they were always engaged in serving the mission. But slowly, Then there is also things slowly evolved that okay, there is some space that is to be required for wife and husband, so that they started living in houses, in apartments, and they started coming and serving in the temple for some time not. So all these things, evolutions came, but importantly, Maharaj says that whatever model we are, yeah, because that was too extreme that days that one may not be able to artificially practice that. Oh, but then if such situation is not yet there, one can live together, but always engage in serving, engaged in serving the Lord. And through this process of engaging in the service of the Lord, the taste for, yeah, unwanted things will diminish. Huh? And eventually, when you are too busy with so many devotional things, then other things have no room. So it is very important that the wife and husband should time to time having this counseling. Yeah, of course, it's not talking about sex life or not sex life. It's not about that, but how much can family can engage in the service of the Lord. Uh, how much can be increased? How much can be increased based on that increase? That will purify the consciousness. That yeah, eventually one leads a life of detachment or in this path, so that one can attain. Yeah, we have examples in our wonderful ISKCON family how great devotees achieved. Through them, we can also uh, yeah be safe and yeah we can attain that.
Very good. So what I understood, Prabhu, in brief, that if we engage, if the couple, wife and husband, they engage themselves more and more in the service of Guru and Gauranga, then gradually they will lose this taste of passion, right?
Yeah, yeah.
And in general, Prabhu, maybe a very straightforward question. As per our four regulatory principles, uh, when husband and wife engage in, yeah, in mode of passion or in sex, is that sinful even if they are not doing it for begetting Krishna conscious child?
Yeah, in the Shatkriya Saradipika, there is this different samskaras that are detailed out, the 10 samskaras. In that, there is the Garbhadan samskar. In that connection, Bhanu Swami, yeah, Bhanu Maharaj, who translated it into English, the Gopal Bhatta Goswami Maharaj, Gopal Bhatta Goswami's, uh, which he has translated. Then he started putting all the points what Prabhupada said, and he said that yeah, a grahastha is still a sannyas if he indulges in sex only for begetting children. And in that, yeah, you can go for any number of children, but otherwise only once, and that too. So there is this description which means that if one is unwantedly, unnecessarily indulging in sex life, then it is sinful. Yeah, that's what it said.
Okay.
Yeah, I can share the
And
link
is
later. Maybe you can
and is
read. Yeah.
part of the four in as when we take the oath with Guru of four regulative principle, is that part of this oath that I will never engage in sex with for not having kids with my wife?
Yeah. So there is. Yeah. So there is a this. Uh, Regulative principle about illicit sex, and when we are talking about unwanted indulgence, yeah, so we have to see, yeah, but we are talking about even Lord Brahma is not able to have 100% free from that, or Lord Shiva, Mohini. So there are examples, and if we are saying, okay, only if my consciousness is coming to that level, I will surrender, then we should be thinking that, oh, we are missing very important thing, support of Guru and support of mercy of Krishna. Yeah. So we have to take a conscious decision that yes, I'll try my side. Yeah, I will. This is what I'm promising. Let's try to keep as much as possible. And something I read somewhere or I heard to some class, I don't remember exactly, where he said, yeah, when things go out of our hand, we just once again, yeah, feel repent of that and then pray to the Lord for ask for forgiveness and again carry on. I think Gauranga Prabhu also gives a, I don't know whether it's a straight answer to this question, but Gauranga Prabhu
I
says,
never found a very straight answer. That's why I'm asking, because the thing is, sometimes I hear from people that, if they try to force themselves into the idealistic way, they might even, in between the couple, they might get into depression that, okay, now they have to only do it when they want a child, and that can cause
Yeah,
problems
so
in relationship and all.
that's why
So
that's
I
why
was confused. What is, yeah,
yeah
sorry, bro, go ahead.
that's why we take to this what Jada Bharat from that we uh, when he was teaching Rahugana, right? He was telling, what did he say? Is that yeah, we always beat our mind. So things happen like this. We beat our mind. Okay, now I cannot beat someone else's mind, right? Because maybe I'm thinking I know that I am stupid, but or sometimes I think I'm not stupid. The other person is stupid. Oh, let me go and beat his mind with my, as Bhaktivinoda Thakur said, beat with the shoe. No, it's very dangerous. Yeah. So we have to be tolerant. We have to also accommodate. We have to find ways of how to come out. Yeah. Because if from this chapter where we are talking about wife husband in the spiritual world, they are engaging in the service of the Lord. uh, First of all, yeah, when they don't have these urges, why are they actually wife and husband? uh, yeah. So as you were saying that, uh, so the thing is that the purpose of being wife and husband is like caring each other to engage in the service of the Lord. So instead of being alone, working as a team.
True,
Yeah.
bro.
So which means supporting each other.
Mhm.
Yeah, I don't know. Did that answer? Because it was not a direct answer for your direct question.
No
But
worries,
yeah,
bro. I have more deeper questions I will ask you in person,
yeah.
face to
Make
face.
make make a list of all that and send it to Maharaj. He can give answer.
No, no, I'm shy to.
No, it's nice, wonderful questions, right? Then you can post it in some way that you have a direct question, direct answer, so that everyone will benefit.
I don't know.
Yeah, Hare Krishna.
Hare
Okay.
Krishna. Sorry, Vedanta. Yes, sir.
Oh, thank you. Yeah. Any other things anyone want to share before we close the call? Yeah, we wanted to need till 9:30, but Rishabh Dev question is I can't have a straight answer for it. I have to give some context from where what I heard, what I'm uh, yeah inspired by.
Thank you, bro. Hare Krishna.
Okay, then thank you very much. Radha Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu. Thank you.
Hare Krishna.